Welcome everybody. It is the No Politics Podcast. I'm your boy Faking No Moves, and I'm with my co-host Working Genius. And as usual, we're gonna talk about wrestling, music, sports, and whatever the fuck else we feel like talking about. So let's get started today, and we'll start off as we do every week with wrestling. We're gonna talk Monday Night Raw, Tuesday Night Smackdown Live, and that's about it for now. I mean, we might get into some sports, we might get into some music, but let's get it started with Monday Night Raw. I mean, who wants to start it off? You or me?
I'll let you take this one.
Okay, I'm gonna take this one as usual, actually. But
You know,
we started off Monday Night Raw. Actually, it's called the Chris and Kevin Show, with Chris and Kevin standing in the middle of the ring, holding up that Universal belt, talking their shit. And it was another classic. As usual, these guys hold their own on the mic. They called the guys the mutts in the back, play the stills, and they showed how they won last night. And Jericho fooled everybody, including the fans, and it hurt him just as much as it hurt Owens to hit that code breaker. How'd you feel about that?
I liked it. I liked, the way the pay per view ended. We were kind of confused a bit, but if Jericho was possibly going for that title, but I think on Monday he either confirmed or he's fooling us again. You got to think about that. Now he's proven that he could fool everyone. So
Mm-hmm.
now he might be fooling us again. That's something to think about going forward. But I do enjoy the fact that they ended up squashing it, and basically Jericho said it was all a part of his plan. Like I kind of predicted that they'd be, that
You
Jericho
did.
would just fake not being Owens' friend, but I didn't realize that Owens wouldn't be in on it. And that's the interesting part though. Going
That's
forward.
yep. He said you even fooled me. You
Yep.
fooled all of them, but you even fooled me.
And that's scary going forward because we know Jericho can be sly. Look at what he did to AJ Styles, and look at how AJ Styles kind of took off after that.
Yep.
Jericho can build a superstar out of someone, and if they do it right, they can find a way to put Owens over. The only part is that people were rooting for Styles instead of Jericho during their feud, whereas in this feud, most people want Jericho. Most people, I think, prefer Jericho to Owens at this point. So you never know. He could flip it on people and make a star out of Owens, and
Yep.
cement his title run.
I mean, if that happens, man, I mean that would be cool. We talked about you never know. I mean, on the first episode, I talked about how you never know. Like maybe Owens might not have the belt, and they might need a feud for Mania. It'll be like the two best friends going at it. Like the show's over. You know what I mean? Um, Foley came out though, and he screwed up on where he was. He was like in Pittsburgh with his thumbs up, like right. And everybody's like boo. And he was like, and Jericho and Owens backed him up. He was like, Pittsburgh's way better than this shit hole anyway. Like you know what I'm saying? He was like, oh, I mean in Ohio, and he put the thumbs up again. That was funny. I mean, classic Foley. Like he's done it before in the past where he's messed up like the location and stuff
All the time.
all the like all the time. But I mean, I'm not mad at him. He's old, you know. He took a lot of bumps.
I mean, I'm not mad at him. Every time he messes up and he botches though, I feel like Stephanie must be like upset with him, or someone in the back is upset with him.
Vince maybe he's like cursing his fucking head off in the back, like this motherfucker. Like, but he interesting take from that. He introduced the stipulation for the Royal Rumble, which is actually in 6 weeks. So they got a lot of
They got
time to build for. And it's gonna be Roman versus Owens again. Jericho's locked above the ring in a shark cage. That's gonna be crazy. I just want to know how's Owens gonna pull this one off.
I already got it. I already know because I'm along with being a SmackDown guy, I am also an NXT guy. And
Mm.
recently, I feel like WWE has, the Raw or SmackDown have taken a few things from NXT lately.
Okay.
One being that shark cage above the ring. In the Dusty Rhodes Classic, in the final, the Authors of Pain went up against TM61, and Paul Ellering was up in the shark cage above the ring. And
Oh.
And yeah, I didn't know if you saw it or not, but no spoilers. But here's what I'm thinking: Paul Ellering still found a way to be involved, in which he dropped a chain down to the ring um, for the authors of pain to use. And so I'm thinking Jericho gets locked into the shark cage, but he has a weapon on him that when the ref is distracted, he could drop into the ring, maybe let
Mm.
Owens use, and I would expect something like that.
So I guess I gotta come clean because I did not catch the Dusty Classic. I mean, I was up on what teams were in it. I was like picking who I would want to win. I know the Authors of Pain won it, but I didn't watch it. I didn't watch the finals. I had no clue that they did that. And that's very interesting. That is a good one. So hey, who knows? Who knows? That's a big possibility.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm thinking I just cracked the case. I'm thinking there's no reason to even speculate any further. I think that's got to be it.
That has to be it, but then why would they be so obvious? Why
That
would
is
they
also
just
true.
why would
That
they
is
just
also true.
copy what they just did like 2 weeks ago on NXT, you know?
Maybe they thought, maybe they thought because not many people tune into NXT that they could kind of, take a great idea they saw there, and it worked so well on NXT, so let's, put it on, national TV and utilize it there. I think that I think I just dropped some knowledge and some very very well needed insight on the possible on the main event of the Royal Rumble, and I think you could only get this information here on the No Politics podcast, which is why you got to tune in every Wednesday and special every other Sunday. All right, because
That's
this is
right.
where you
That's
get that
right.
kind of insight.
I mean, I think you're working for the company, man. You must be an industry plant, huh?
No.
But we're gonna move on from that, and the next thing that happened on Raw was Big Cass versus Rusev, which was another like trash match. Nothing was put into it. Rusev ran away, escapes through the crowd. I mean, I don't know, man.
I mean, like you said, though,
He
there
like
are
like he rushed him right and beat him down right.
yeah.
I mean, what are they doing, man? I don't know. Like we put so much emphasis into booking this match, this feud in our first episode, and it's like we care more than WWE does. Like that's how I feel, at least.
I think we got to think about, like you said, there is 6 weeks to the Rumble, so if maybe this is a Rumble match, they have to build it slowly. But I feel like there's so much less attention on Cass and Rusev themselves, and the emphasis is on just Rusev beating up Enzo. If I don't know if we were gonna get to it or not, but the Enzo segments, which were great in
Of
the
course, we're
sensitivity
gonna get
training,
to it.
got to mention that.
Of
Um,
course.
but of course it ends again with him being cornered by Rusev, which seems to be the story. Rusev keeps getting to Enzo, and Cass is nowhere to be found, which is kind of weird. Where else would Cass be at that moment?
Yeah.
So
Like
I don't like that. I kind of felt like it was forced. And I don't know. It's just weird. They just have Enzo taking all the beatings so that Cass could save him in the end, I guess.
yeah, it's kind of weird. I mean, like you have a match with this guy. He rushes you, doesn't let the match even start, gets disqualified, runs out through the crowd. Enzo's doing his sensitivity training. Then this guy just pops up and joins forces with Jinder Mahal to jump this guy. I mean, but I mean, now that we're talking about the sensitivity training classes, Enzo and Jinder Mahal, their interaction was so hilarious. He's like going along with the training, but then giving him that look like, what? What? Like, it was so funny, man. And speaking of Jinder Mahal, this guy was in 3MB. He got fired. He got cut. They do the brand split. They bring him back. For what? Why would you even sign back with them? You know they're not going to even use you for nothing. Like, work the indies, get your name up, have some classic matches, and come back with stock where you have leverage. Like, you know what I mean?
I like that, and I agree with that. As a wrestler, that would be, my motivation to be big. But who knows his motivation? Because if his motivation is the money, then WWE pays way better than the Indies, and that's that. Most people would just jump at whatever money WWE is offering. So,
You're right. You are
but he
completely.
has not been utilized, and I believe he works like superstars. Believe it or
Yeah.
not, that's still a thing. So,
Yeah, I mean, who watches it? Not me. I mean, honestly, I can't even catch NXT. So you think I'm watching Superstars?
Jinder Mahal watches superstars.
His family watches it because that's the only time they're gonna see him.
Yeah.
No disrespect, Jinder, if you're listening.
It's just your underutilization. No disrespect, we'd still like to have you on the No Politics podcast if you ever.
Of course, you could be our first, you know, guest. But moving on, because even though that wasn't even the next part after the damn fight, Sasha Banks comes out limping with a crutch, and you know she sells the injury, she sells the match. It's beautiful. She gives Charlotte Flair her respect. She tells her to come out so she can shake her hand. And what? Who comes out? What happens next?
Nia Jax happens next.
Exactly. And Nia Jax just kicks the crutch.
Which was beautiful. Let me throw it in. It looked super aggressive.
Right?
Scary. It actually got me nervous. It looked super aggressive. I just wanted to say that.
And just launches her. She throws her across the whole ring. Like straight to it. Like I'm gonna make a statement. I guess this is what she needs because they really have underutilized her as well. And her being drafted alone, they should be already pushing her and putting a spotlight on her and giving her a good feud, like the way Smackdown has done with their women and the women specifically that they have drafted from NXT. You know what I mean? So this is a good opportunity for her. We said it. Eventually, the feud between Charlotte and Sasha would have to end, and we would want to see what was next for the women's division on Raw. And this is next. This is next. How do you feel?
I believe they teased this, weeks ago. There was a moment where Nia Jax came out and confronted Sasha maybe 3-4 weeks ago.
Okay.
And while the Charlotte and Sasha feud was still going on. And so they kind of teased Nia Jax's disdain towards Sasha and that she didn't really fuck with her for whatever reason because she wants to be a bully, apparently. So, they've been teasing this and, they wanted to end the Charlotte-Sasha thing finally, so Charlotte's going to move on to Bayley and now Sasha with Nia Jax. And this brings another diva. No, wrong. This brings another woman superstar into the fold, and so I mean, it's cool that we get to see another women's feud outside of the title feud. So that's interesting. SmackDown's already been doing that well. It's about time Raw catches up.
And like I was gonna say, they definitely been lacking in that. So hey, we'll see where this goes. Next was a backstage segment which to me personally, besides the way that the episode ended, was my favorite part of the whole episode. Foley introduces the new tag team championship title belts to Sheamus and Cesaro. Wow. I mean, SmackDown got the blue ones. Raw has to have the red ones, and I'm gonna be honest. I love those blue ones, but those red ones are clean as hell, man. I really dig those belts, man. How'd you feel about them?
The belts look awesome. I was not able to see the promo. Sometimes, I got to check into sports too. This isn't just a wrestling podcast. So, I had to get my sports on. I had to dip into the Monday night game. And I got the notification from the WWE app that said that they were given the new titles, and I had to jump over and tune in. And when I saw them come out with them, they are they are beautiful.
Yeah.
That red and that silver just looks so dope together. It reminds me of the Mork and Mindy SBs from back in
Word.
the day. Those fire SBs. So
Word.
many of our listeners, mess with fashion or Nike SBs and shit like that. But they remind me of the Mork and Mindy's, which was a beautiful color combination. And so
Yes.
that red and silver, it just looks awesome.
You can't go wrong with that combination. But during that segment, I guess if you missed that, then you missed Braun Strowman. A referee came in asking Foley like, "Help, help, help!" And it cut to Braun Strowman was backstage just destroying shit. He was like throwing shit and throwing people, and Foley was like, "What the hell's going on?" And he's like, "I want Sami Zayn, like tonight, or else." He was like, "Man," he was like, "I let him survive. Like I had him, and because of you, I let him off the hook. Else he would have never lasted the 10 minutes." And like he just left. Foley didn't even get to like talk or say anything to him. He just stormed off, and we were left to ponder like, what the hell is Strowman gonna do? Like, who is he gonna hurt next?
Raw has created a monster. And before we're gonna talk about Braun Strowman a little more in depth later and what's to come for him. But if the Braun Strowman storyline gives me anything, it's hope for Nia Jax. They kind of booked them both the same way coming in, just gave them a ton of squash matches. Nia Jax has a long way to go in the ring, but we could say the same about Braun, even though he's probably a bit further along. But it gives me hope for the Nia Jax feud, and hopefully, we see it. It's been a slow build, but now it looks like the Braun Strowman thing is really getting going.
Yeah, it's picking up for sure. After that was a match between Cedric Alexander and Noam Dar. Now they showed a flashback where Dar was like trying to holler at Alicia Fox on 205 Live. And maybe I haven't watched 205 Live. I mean, the Cruiserweight Championship tournament I definitely watched, but 205 I haven't really. I'm more of a main roster type thing. Monday Night Raw, Tuesday Night Smackdown, and the pay-per-views. When did Cedric Alexander and Alicia Fox start dating? Maybe you can help me find out because I had no clue.
I believe they started dating. If my information is correct, I believe they started dating when they realized they had nothing for Alicia Fox. That's when they started dating.
Because that was news to me.
WWE had nothing for Alicia Fox, and that's when she started dating Cedric Alexander, probably.
And speaking of Cedric Alexander, last week we talked about Neville and like the feuds we would like to see him in. And Cedric Alexander is another guy that I forgot to mention. I love the way he wrestles. He's entertaining. He's dope. I actually put him above Rich Swann. I thought he had more of that look like he would have the belt before Rich Swann. But Rich Swann is entertaining. I could see him either being a bad guy or a good guy with his style. You know what I mean? And I mean, he got the opportunity first. But Cedric Alexander is a player that we need to keep our eyes on because he's definitely going to have a main role in that cruiserweight division as well. Him and Noam Dar had a great match. Man, they had some spots. You saw that match?
I did not, but I've seen Cedric Alexander and I've seen Noam Dar, and I know what they're capable of.
Bro, Alexander did this like he like bounced off the rope and like hit him with an enziguri to the face. Like,
Seen that?
You've seen that? Yeah, that shit is awesome. I was like, damn, like okay.
Yep.
Getting it in. Noam Dar actually beat Cedric on 205 Live, and Cedric got the win on Raw. So it's even Stevens with them. I guess their feud's definitely gonna continue. Even though Noam lost, he ended up like getting the mic and still saying like, "Foxy, you're all I want for Christmas," like type shit. Like it was cool.
He was spitting that real G shit.
Yeah, it was short though. It was a short match. It played its part on the damn show, and they moved on from there, honestly. And next, New Day came down to the ring, cut a promo. Kofi was saying how he's not gonna mourn about their loss of the tag titles, and in order for Ric Flair to become a 16-time champ, he had to lose the belt 15 times, and Big E stated that that would be Charlotte in a month. It was hilarious. Uh, then Sheamus and Cesaro came down, and they were wearing their belts, and this is what you saw. And Cesaro actually had a little trouble getting his suit off. I don't know if you noticed that. And then and Sheamus was like with his arms out, like waiting for him to come on. Like, where the hell is this guy? And he got the leg out, and he's like,
I saw it. I
yeah,
remember it.
neutralize the Cesaro section. And then they walked down to the ring and all that. Uh, from there, Gallows and Anderson came out. Everybody was popping their shit, and then the Shining Stars came down, and everybody was like, "Why the hell are these guys coming down?" But you know, that turned into a 4-on-4 tag match, which was actually pretty entertaining. Sheamus and Cesaro and the New Day had some good spots. I love Luke Harper, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson, and I think it's only a matter of time before they get the belts. I thought they would be the ones to take it off New Day, but I can understand why Sheamus and Cesaro did. They're fucking two big powerhouses, and I look forward to seeing more feuds. I mean, maybe New Day won't be in the title picture, and we'll give some shine to the other tag team. You know, on
The
the
way I
roster.
feel about it is, I feel like I the match, while entertaining, it was predictable. Obviously, the champs and the former champs would beat the club and the other guys, the Shining Stars.
Yeah.
I think they need. I think that Raw tag division needs something. It need like the Sheamus and Cesaro feud with New Day has been good. Cesaro and Sheamus, I think it was a good time to give them the titles because they were hot. They were much hotter than the club. And but after that, it's like there's nothing behind them. They could build the club, but they failed at building the club so far. The club doesn't seem intimidating. They've had about a year almost on the show, and they haven't been intimidating. People don't really take them seriously. They rack up losses, and then after that, there's nothing. There's no real intimidating tag teams, and I don't know if this will happen, but the Revival can definitely inject something into that Raw tag division. Yeah. I don't know if I want the Revival to end up on Raw, but their time is nearing. Their time is coming soon.
Yep.
For them to come onto the main roster, and maybe that's what the Raw tag division needs. But I feel like the division needs something.
You're right, and honestly, I felt Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson should have never been split from AJ Styles in all reality. Especially, you put AJ on SmackDown, and he's a heel still. He's a bad guy still. Like, I could have understood if they were going to make him a good guy, and that's why they wanted to separate him. But they should have stood together. That's his crew. Like, for real. You know what I mean? They're really best friends, those guys. And they shouldn't have been split up.
You just gave me a wonderful idea, though. I've been thinking a lot about the New Day and what's next for them. And I don't know if they're gonna take them out of the title picture, but I would assume they don't want to give them the titles back for a little while. And I was like, what is there for the New Day? And then when you brought up the club being split off from AJ Styles, the first thing I thought of was the promo from, I believe it was SummerSlam, where the club and AJ Styles had like reunited, and they ran into Finn Balor. And now that I'm thinking about Finn Balor returning, I'm thinking the club needs something. Maybe Finn Balor, now that Rollins is face now, maybe Finn Balor comes back angry. Maybe he comes back as a heel. Maybe he gives a boost to the club. Maybe Balor Club.
I would say, since this podcast started, your predictions and your thoughts have been more of like on par with the way WWE has been. I usually have like these crazy like ideas and stuff, so I wouldn't be like shocked if that's what happens. I mean, it's a possibility. We all know Finn Balor's return is getting close, And I'm praying like on our first episode when you predicted maybe he comes out in the Rumble. Like, because I was saying, who could win the Rumble? I really don't know. Obviously, Roman's not going to be in the Rumble. He has a match that night. So it's definitely not him. They don't. They definitely don't want to deal with another with him getting booed again. You know what I mean? So who knows? That'd be freaking awesome. That would definitely be awesome. Uh After that was a backstage segment. Moving on, it was Enzo and Cass, and we found out he was gonna go to sensitivity training, which we already talked about. And after that, Neville comes to the ring, and this was his moment. He destroyed. He talked about destroying T.J. Perkins, Rich Swann. He was annoyed by the audience that cheered for him. He said, and he stated that he didn't want any cheers. He claimed that he was going to destroy everyone in the cruiserweight division, and we spoke about this. I said, I hope on our last episode, I hope he keeps that mean streak, not just like, hey, the crowd loves me, let me do my cool tricks and let's get these pops and I'm gonna be champion. I hoped he kept the mean streak. He kept it. It was awesome. He got interrupted by Rich Swann. He asked Neville and asked why he was acting this way. Neville told Rich Swann, like, shut up, basically, and stated Swann hasn't shown Neville enough respect. Brian Kendrick comes down. He cut a dope promo. He was talking about how, like, Neville has been a pioneer and how great he was. Um, and then T.J. Perkins ran down to the ring. Neville beat him down as well. And then Brian Kendrick applauded Neville for his efforts. Kendrick hit sliced bread on Perkins, and Neville walked backstage. Yeah, and that's what happened.
Brian Kendrick is trying so hard not to get fucked up by Neville. He is trying his absolute best. Destroy is the perfect word for what Neville has done these last two appearances. Yeah. Destroy. Absolute destruction.
And honestly, man, I talked about how I thought, Kendrick and Neville could have like a good match and stuff. But seeing their little dynamic, I wouldn't mind seeing them like as a little team and like maybe some, I don't know, some cruiserweight tag team action going on or alliances going on moving forward. You know what I mean? That'd be cool.
I wouldn't mind it because it seems like a lot of guys in the cruiserweight division are just floaters. They're just floating around. Everyone's, on their own, and maybe some alliances would be cool. I would hope though that they make Neville such a heel that at some point Brian Kendrick just always trying to suck up to him annoys him, and he just fucks him up as well. Like, I want Neville to be that kind of heel.
That's probably going to happen, and we'll see that next week on Raw, and we'll be talking about it. Yeah, man. But moving on. From there was another backstage segment with Enzo. We forgot to mention this. Bob Backlund and Darren Young were in that class. Did you see that? That was hilarious. Darren Young was trying to act like he was Bob Backlund. He was like, I'm Bob Backlund. And he's like, no, I'm Bob Backlund. He was like, I'm just saying, I'm Bob Backlund. I want to be great again. He goes, that's ridiculous. The world knows I'm great already. It's instant history. Like, that was so funny. Like, Bob Backlund plays that, like, loony, like, not all there in the head character so well, and even at his age, and I love that part right there.
I love the entire sensitivity training segment. I'm not gonna get too much into it again, but Enzo was great. Him trying to flirt with the teacher, I knew that was coming. He was talking about giving her his Twitter handle. His Instagram handle. Yeah. It was sliding in her DMs. It's so fresh. It feels so fresh that, like, they're letting not that they're letting Enzo go, but like everyone else seems looser. They seem looser, and Enzo was just, Enzo was hollering at her like he would holler at anyone. It wasn't like, it didn't seem restricted. It seemed like he was doing his thing. Kind of like Noam Dar, Noam Dar and Enzo was, getting their shit on last night.
Right. Yeah, that was a cool little part right there. Um, Next, I don't really remember this part. I guess I was a little distracted. I mean, I must have missed it, but Titus O'Neil and Sin Cara was supposed to have a match. Braun Strowman came down and beat the hell out of both of them. Yeah,
He,
so
he was there's not much to say about the match, I'm sure, so I'll just cut you off from here. This is another thing that reminded me of NXT. I don't know if you've seen this, but about a month ago or a month and a half ago, when Samoa Joe wanted to fight Shinsuke Nakamura and he wanted his rematch for the NXT Championship, he told Regal that if he doesn't give him Nakamura, he's gonna wreak havoc. And Regal would set up a random match, a random match on NXT, and who would come out? Samoa Joe, and he would just destroy.
I
He would
remember.
just destroy competitors, and that's what this reminded me of.
I actually remember that. I actually got to see that on NXT, and okay, that's what's up. Uh, Strowman launched Sin Cara into a Christmas tree. I'm
Yes,
asking.
I didn't even have anything clever to say to that.
That must have been awesome. How did I miss that? That's like the best thing Sin Cara's gotten to do in like months.
Yeah.
For real, man. Okay. All right. After that, I did see this. I mean, I had some company in my house, so I was trying to occupy my company and watch at the same time. But Charlotte came down to the ring and she was talking about that she's the greatest superstar the WWE has ever seen. She talked about, throwing up the four and being a four-time champion. And basically, she got interrupted by Bailey, and Bailey was popping some shit. She was telling her, like, you are great, but you're 2-0 against me, girl. I want a shot. I want a shot at that belt. And Charlotte said it didn't count, and she's not good enough to even get an opportunity.
That's Queen Charlotte. It doesn't count unless she wants it to count. That's a real heel.
Right? And from there, and they went into a match. Now, did Mick Foley came out and made the match? Did he? Or no? Like, why did the match start when she was telling her she can't have a match against her?
Not too sure. Let's cut this part out. Let's edit this part out now. We don't edit shit out on the No Politics podcast. We keep it funky. We keep it 100.
That's
I'm gonna
right.
tell you if I didn't see it. And to be honest, we supposed to be the WWE universe. We supposed to represent and watch. But I'm gonna be honest, I ain't see how that match started.
You just tuned in and was like, okay, this is a match. Definitely. I mean, that's what I was saying because you know what? Like I said, I got an excuse. I had company over and I was trying to take care of the company and get them the fuck out. You know what I mean? So I could keep watching the show. But all in all, they had a match. I actually got to see the match because I did get them out before the match, before the match ended. And all in all, Bailey ended up getting the win again. And it was like, what? Now it counts. Now it counts. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man.
3-0.
Yep. So I guess we know what's the next feud for Charlotte. It's gonna be Bailey, and that's gonna be interesting. You think they're gonna take the same route they took with Sasha Banks? Like, you know what I mean? Hot shotting the belt back and forth. I hope not.
I hope not. But if we are to trust what Biggie said, then yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
I don't know. What they'll be fighting at Rumble? Is that when they'll have the title match? I mean, they have 6 weeks, so it's weird. You never know. They give her a title shot on next week's Raw or something like.
Yeah.
Who knows? But if they save it for the Rumble, I would assume we haven't seen Dana Brooke. Don't know why. I would assume Charlotte. At this point, they just made Bailey. They just are making Bailey seem like she's just better than Charlotte. She's 3-0 against her, and so Charlotte is smart enough to know she'll need some backup.
Yeah.
Maybe bring Dana Brooke in.
All in all, I mean, I don't think. I mean, I want to see Bailey get the belt one of these days. not this month or anytime before Royal Rumble, or even not too soon after Royal Rumble. Like, why? Why do they keep doing that? Like that, it's just gonna diminish the belt. I mean, if they continue to do it, because with them doing it between Sasha and Charlotte, at least they were having like classic matches. You know what I mean? Making history. First women's Hell in a Cell, woman Iron Man match, and all these great things. You know what I mean? The no disqualification in North Carolina match, and I mean False Count Anywhere match. You know, that was awesome, and you know it helped build the belt. But if you go to the next feud and just give the belt over again, it's just gonna start to diminish the belt. So I hope they don't do it. That's gonna be a good feud. We already know what to expect from these girls. We knew what to expect from Sasha and Charlotte's feud based off NXT when I had time to watch it. You know, they were fucking killing it down there. So they're gonna kill it still moving forward. And yeah, that's gonna be a great match. All in all, after that was the segment we talked about, where basically Jinder Mahal and Rusev destroyed Enzo, and that was dope. How they put him through the table. It reminded me of some old school shit we were talking about previously with the Attitude Era and how they're moving past that PG stuff, which I definitely liked. And then after that, we had the main event: Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins versus Jericho and Kevin Owens. And where do we start? Because seeing Roman and Seth Rollins together just gave me flashbacks of like, wait a minute, these guys used to be tag team champions. And when they were tag team champions, I did not like them. Like, I thought, really watching it, to me, I was like, man, all of us thought Dean Ambrose was like the best one. He was the one. And we so did not appreciate having Roman and Rollins as tag team champs. And then now seeing them as tag team, it's like blasphemy. Like, how could these two powerhouse superstars, they're so big as singles, even be put in a tag team, you know? And but they were freaking clicking, man. They had all their moves together. I loved every freaking second of the match. It ended with a twist. It was just great, man. And what are your thoughts?
I'm gonna sound like I'm full of shit, but I swear I'm not. But Seth Rollins was my favorite in the Shield. I always thought he was the third member. Like, he was the member nobody really talked about. You know, Dean Ambrose was always the one that got the most attention, as you said. Reigns was the powerhouse that made you pay attention with his power. But to me, whenever Rollins came in, Rollins would always start the match too. He would always start the match, to get the hot tag to someone like Reigns. But whenever I saw Rollins jumping onto someone outside the ring, doing the flip and just nailing the landing, just absolutely nailing the landing, I was like, this guy is awesome. I appreciate the combination. I've always appreciated the combination. Rollins, doing the acrobatic stuff, and then Reigns being the muscle. It works. It works. And even though I don't like where their storylines are going and how they've come together. I don't like that aspect of it. But together, I don't think we can argue that they work well together.
Yeah. I mean, that one like sequence where they threw, I think it was Owens into like the corner, and then Roman threw Rollins into the corner, and he elbowed him, and then threw him, and then Roman hit him with the big boot. I was like, I love to see that. That's like these guys. The only thing that I have wrong with it is like, it's like they were never enemies. Like, they just clicked back again, and they got the moves and the chemistry. But I appreciate it, and it was cool, you know.
Well, it's like when you break up with an ex-girlfriend. When you hook up with her a month later or 2 months later, the sex is still the same as it used to be. You feel me? The same shit. So you just know it just clicks. It just comes together. Everything just comes together.
What a comparison! All right, but I mean, there were some moments in there too. Let's not just put all the shine on them where Kevin and Chris Jericho were beating the shit out of Roman and they were talking mad shit. They were just popping shit like, smack him again. You ain't shit. Owens was like, watch it. You might get some conditioner on your hands. Yo, it was so funny.
They are the absolute best at popping shit.
They, they definitely are.
Best.
They definitely are, man. They're like a match made in heaven. They really are. And they're both from Canada. It makes it even better. Speaking of Canada, Jericho like raised his arm. I don't know if it was on Roadblock or even in in Raw, and he has a dope tattoo of the Canada flag. I just remembered that because I remember I saw it. I was like, damn, his tattoo is fresh. Like, Tatty Jericho got some nice tats, man. Like, I never expected him to be the guy to get tattoos, but his tattoos are dope. Like, side note, you know what I mean? But basically, moving on, Braun Strowman came out, and it was like, oh, we're gonna see this guy again, okay? And he fucking came after Roman. He came after Rollins. Fucking Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho ran. They were like beating up Rollins, and then Braun was coming in the ring. They looked at each other and split. That shit was hilarious. And then, but they didn't run away like too far, cause as he was beating up Rollins, they started beating up Roman, and then they rolled him and it was like, here, have him. And then basically we end Raw with Braun Strowman on top, his theme song playing, and he's like, yeah, and he was just popping shit too. That's cool. They're gonna build him now, right?
The time for Braun Strowman has arrived. It reminded me of something I mentioned on, I believe, the first episode of the No Politics podcast, where I mentioned that the New Day ended a Raw standing tall against guys like Cena and other top guys at the time, and that was the start of their dominance. And if they do this right, Braun Strowman has looked dominant. Yeah. And it looks like it's gonna continue.
Yeah, man. Just to think, like, just last year, they were talking about like, oh, maybe at WrestleMania or at SummerSlam it'll be Braun versus Brock, and then it was like, nah, he's not ready. You know what I mean? And now a year later, WrestleMania is just around the corner, and it's like, okay, maybe he might be ready. They're gonna give him a shot, and he looked good against Roman and Rollins, and he's looked good against Sami Zayn. So like, let's see where this goes. But I still don't think the Sami Zayn Braun Strowman situation isn't dead yet. Somehow, some way, Zayn's still gonna come back and get involved with whatever the fuck he's gonna be doing going forward.
It's not dead until Sami Zayn is dead. That's just according to Braun Strowman.
Oh, shit. That's gonna be the new slogan. It's not dead till Sami Zayn's dead. That's what's up, yo. But all in all, it was a great episode of Raw. I feel like they definitely capitalized. Moving on from Roadblock and basically starting the next chapter, going into Royal Rumble and whatever the heck is next. I think maybe Fastlane might be the next pay-per-view for them after Royal Rumble, and then it's gonna be
Elimination Chamber.
No, Chamber's gonna be for SmackDown.
Yes.
So it's gonna be Rumble, Fastlane, Mania. Rumble.
Raw.
For Raw. You know what I mean? So let's see what's gonna be next. Let's move on to SmackDown. I personally didn't have the time to catch up on SmackDown or watch it. Today I was supposed to catch up on it, but I was like super busy at work. I was by myself doing a closing shift. Had like mad stuff going on, so I didn't get to catch up to it. But I'm going to leave it up to Mr. Tuesday Night, and you're going to catch me up on it, and you're going to tell me about it, and I'll just give my input going forward of what I think, is cool and not cool.
Yeah, I'm just going to give you a cop-out here because I know you get busy. You have a life. I'm just gonna let all the listeners know I don't. So I just sit around and I'm able to, I was gonna throw you under the bus for a second. I was thinking, I was like, nah, I watch Raw, I watch Monday Night Football, and I watch SmackDown Live, but I also don't have a life. So I was able to tune into all of these things. I will take over here. I am the SmackDown guy on this podcast. So let's see. Let's kick it off with SmackDown Live. Do you have the card? Do you at least have that?
Yeah, I pulled up the card, so I'm
There we
checking
go.
that out.
Perfect. You've done your job very well. Then
Of course.
Start us off, and I'll get into the details.
All right, so all in all, the way it looks is that AJ Styles and James Ellsworth kicked off the show. Was that like was there no like talking like backstage segment or anybody in the ring up with the mic? You just started off like AJ versus Ellsworth.
Unless I'm mistaken, that's exactly how it happened. They remember we've been talking about how they keep putting off this world title match, the AJ Styles Ellsworth rematch. They kept putting it off because nobody really cares. It's not. We know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And as we expected, they come out, they kick it off, they kick the show off. They're not gonna save it for the main event. They're not gonna milk it, which is what I love about SmackDown. They know that
Good.
we know what's gonna happen. Let's get this out of the way finally. We've been putting it off. They got it kicked off. AJ Styles absolutely destroyed James Ellsworth.
Thank God.
The match, AJ Styles didn't even have to hit him with any finishers. He finished him with his quick striking. When AJ does the quick strike.
Yeah.
That's what he finished him with. And then he pinned him with like two hands. Like he just put his two hands on his chest.
Oh my God. He squashed him, huh?
But then the best part was that after the match, they made AJ Styles absolutely destroy him. It looked brutal. Like they are building AJ Styles. Like if I've mentioned Charlotte being one of the top heels, but AJ Styles is, along with the Miz, is the top heel. They make him look absolutely brutal. They don't make him, run. He's not playing the coward heel like Owens, which I don't know. I don't know why they book Owens that way, but I think it has something to do with they want Reigns to look strong, unfortunately. But every time someone's booked in a feud with Reigns, they play the coward heel role. Yeah. But not on SmackDown. Not with AJ Styles as champion. He looks absolutely on top of his game. The best heel they got, destroyed him. Threw him onto the announcer's table, which I thought it might have been a botch because he didn't throw him on top of it. He threw him, and Ellsworth hit the side of it. It looked like it was a mistake. It looked like AJ Styles accidentally dropped him, but I think he was just going for this brutal look. And then he pulled up the ring apron. He threw Ellsworth's head into the side of the ring structure.
Okay.
Where like underneath the ring, where they actually build the ring from. It just he made it look bad and awesome at the same time. Ellsworth had to get carted off, and Styles walked out looking strong.
Ha! That's crazy. I mean, honestly, the other day I was thinking about it. Like, who would have thought AJ Styles would be in the position he is in WWE alone? Like, a guy coming from the competitor, even though WWE really does not have any competitors, if we're being realistic. But he came from TNA. He was a TNA main like structure in TNA. He was the guy for years. I remember seeing AJ Styles when we were kids, like in 2003, like when the WWE pay-per-views would end, you know how they used to do like those previews of pay-per-views coming up? They would preview TNA, and like I would see AJ Styles, and I remember hearing about him through magazines and like my older cousin, and being like, man, wait, that's TNA, that's AJ Styles. I want to order that one. I want to see him wrestle. Guys like him and Amazing Red and dudes like that, and to see how far he has come, and now he's the champ, and he really is like the face that runs the place. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's doing his thing.
The champ that runs the camp. He's their top guy. He's all this shit Roman says he's the top guy. No. It's AJ Styles. AJ Styles is the top guy in WWE right now.
Yeah, he definitely is, man. So after that I see Styles like grabbed the mic, and was interrupted by Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, Dolph Ziggler. They have to build towards their feud. Ziggler comes out, brings that intensity as usual
Okay.
on the mic. I forgot how that ended. God, here I am. I'm talking all this shit. I'm the SmackDown guy.
I know, right? You're the one with no life that could catch up on this. Basically, what it's saying is that Ziggler interrupted him. Uh, said that Styles took 4 tries to beat Ellsworth. Uh, Styles called Ziggler a loser. Uh,
I remember. I'm gonna cut you off. I got it. You just had to refresh my memory. That's all.
the,
Baron Corbin comes out.
the Lone
Baron
Wolf.
Corbin interrupts the Lone Wolf, which was a shock. I mean, I don't think anyone would have expected it to go that way. Which kind of reminds me of last week when Luke Harper was the 4th member of the Fatal 4-Way, and he comes out and ends the first segment on top. I just love what SmackDown is doing. They're
Big
just
props.
giving all these other people, a chance. And so Baron Corbin comes out, and AJ Styles just walks out the ring. Like this is Ziggler's problem to handle, and Corbin gives the end of days to Ziggler, and he ends that segment on top.
Wow.
Looks
Big,
good.
big props to SmackDown. I mean, they are giving everyone an opportunity and making everyone look good, win or lose. And after TLC, me and you had a discussion. We were talking about Baron Corbin and how we liked his match with Kalisto. And I mean, they both really made each other look good. Corbin got the win, and we were like, what's next for him? I said they need to give him that opportunity because, like, after Ambrose, like we were saying, who's next for Styles? I mean, we know Ziggler's next now, but besides Orton, Bray Wyatt, who are now a tag team, I mean, who else is there? Ziggler, Corbin, and they got to bring some people up. And Corbin's, I guess, getting his shine now. I mean, eventually he'll be up there, man.
SmackDown is doing a fantastic job at weaving in these mid-card guys into the main event picture without having them, win the title, but having them just flirt with that main event picture just enough. They did it with Harper last week, where Harper looked dominant in that Fatal 4-Way. Even though he did lose and he did get eliminated, he looked dominant for most of that match. So they made Harper look good. They put him with some main event guys, made him look good. Ultimately, he doesn't win. He stays out of the title picture, but they make him look good in the process. Same thing they're doing with Corbin. They weave him into the main event a little bit. He doesn't enter the title picture, but it'll show that he can hang with these guys, just like it showed that Harper could hang with the Ambroses and the Zigglers. And what it's going to do is, before we realize it, when it comes time for a guy like Harper, or when it comes time for a guy like Corbin, we'll see, like, yeah, they've hung around these guys before. This makes sense. They're not just throwing them in, because they've already planted a little seed that they could be main event guys.
Definitely. I think you're 100% correct with that, and I look forward to seeing how they move forward with guys like them. So I guess, I mean, what happens next? Corbin got a shot at Ziggler, right, for his opportunity.
Yeah, similar to how they did it last week, where people they're giving other people a shot every time someone comes up. Like how the Usos, they missed out on the tag team opportunity to be number one contender. They gave the Usos a chance. Corbin didn't get a chance because he wasn't in the Fatal 4-Way. Now they made up for it by giving him a match against Ziggler. Twist ending, though. We could save that for the end because it was the main event. But let's move on to after the opening segment. What was there?
Intercontinental match between The Miz and Apollo Crews.
That's another thing that they've planted the seeds on,
Yeah.
They planted the seeds on, everything with it just seems so, like, flawless. It seems so, like, smooth and fluid with SmackDown's booking.
I love it because we talked about when Fluffy, Gabriel Iglesias, was there, and they so happened to choose Apollo Crews to be in that segment where he was kind of Fluffy was joking on Miz. And look, they give him a shot. How'd that go? How was that match?
That match was actually pretty good. Maurice got tossed from ringside.
Okay.
Miz used heel tactics to win. Ultimately, the referee got kind of like, out of it for a second. And, Miz, I believe he poked Apollo Crews in his eye, gave him the skull crusher finale. It was a good match. makes Miz retains again. It doesn't make Cruz look too weak, and Miz retains, and then he cuts a promo on Dean Ambrose. I don't know if you saw this.
No, not at
Okay,
all.
well, Renee Young is interviewing him, and I believe she asked why he's so obsessed with Dean Ambrose, which is another. Before I even get into his answer, SmackDown is doing such a good job at balancing, utilizing these guys in multiple plots, in multiple storylines. Luke Harper's the tag champ, yet he was utilized in that Fatal 4-Way last week. Miz is the Intercontinental champ, had his little thing with Cruz these last couple of weeks, but is still, dealing with Ambrose. So, SmackDown, they've done a great job at realizing that they lack a large roster, and so they perfectly utilize these guys in multiple ways. It's great. It's beautiful. So his answer, to get into his answer, was I'm obsessed with Dean Ambrose, something to that effect. Aren't you the one sleeping with him?
And I was just gonna say, damn, you gonna be like, she asking about her man, huh?
She was jealous. She was definitely jealous of the Hollywood A-lister.
I see here on the card that I pulled up, it's recapping it. It says that when he said that, the crowd started applauding, and then she smacked him.
Smacked him.
That's crazy.
I think it's great. Obviously they're bringing Renee Young into the fold now. The more personal they can get, the better, and it just adds to what I think has been the theme lately. And that theme, even going back to the sensitivity training, going back to Enzo's segments, the PG era is dead. The PG era is dead.
If it's not yet, it's definitely on its final heartbeats.
It's bleeding out right now.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I'm all for it, man.
Yeah. So this is just reinforcing the Miz Ambrose feud possibly coming up, and I don't know. I'm interested in seeing that. I wouldn't mind seeing that at all.
Yeah, I mean, Ambrose has a history of being an Intercontinental Champion, and he's one of those guys. It's like he's always going to be in contention for a belt. If it isn't the heavyweight world title, it's going to be something. You know what I mean? So he's a main player. Miz is a main player. I want to know though, is Miz gonna finally be able to take it to that next level again? Because I feel like when they had him win the title, like the world title, and really be in the main event of WrestleMania and all that, he didn't deserve it yet. Like, everyone hated him. That's the only reason he was able to, get that opportunity. But now he has stepped up his game like 20 million levels. Like, you know what I mean?
Speaking of weaving in and out of feuds, they did tease the Miz and Styles feud, too, a couple of weeks ago. If it wasn't last week, it was a couple of weeks ago. But they're doing such a good job at doing that, and it showed. They're teasing Miz in that top, in that main event picture, and I would not mind it. I think Styles and Miz would go at it on the mic, and Styles, he does a great job at lifting up whoever he's in the ring with, and
That's
so.
Right.
That'll be tremendous for Miz. Miz has been so hot lately. It's yet to be seen if he can really take it to that next level. But right now, it looks good.
And I was a big guy against Miz, but at this point, anybody who's a true wrestling fan cannot say that Miz has not put in the work and improved and basically grinded and earned his respect. So, yeah, that's how I feel about it. Let's move on. What was next? I see here something about Natty and Nikki Bella and Carmella. What happened there?
What happened is another reinforcement of the PG era is dead.
Okay.
So Nikki is out. Natalia is out there. Natty's out there, and she's asking to speak to Nikki. So she calls out Nikki to the ring. Nikki joins her in the ring, and before they even get into a conversation, you know who comes out. Carmella comes out. She comes to the ring. She's got a mic in her hand. And I brought this up maybe 2 weeks ago. I like that a lot of people don't like Carmella's mic work, but it's good that they're giving her the chance. She laid some haymakers on the mic last night. She she didn't hold back. She said something about Nikki's silicone going to her head. She was laying them in there. She was laying them in there.
Wait,
She's been
Carmella was saying this?
Carmella was saying this.
Okay.
You know, she was laying into Nikki. She said she was laying into Nikki as she usually does. I think she's been great on the mic, and you know, she's just instigating. She's just popping shit, and eventually, Natty gets tired of her, and she chases her up the ramp, and you know, a throwback to Sin Cara and Strowman's moment, but Natty throws Carmella into the Christmas tree.
Okay, that's what's up.
And then she grabs the mic and she says, "All right," to Nikki. She says, "All right, I did it, you bitch."
Woo!
Awesome.
And we've been talking about how they've been throwing that word around lately. Like, it's clear it's not PG-13 anymore. Like, they would have never said bitch. Like, it's SOB. It's something else. Like, and that's what's up. That's what's up. So she said she did it. She admitted it, huh?
She admitted it. And I mean, I think we spoke about this. Since Natty has been on SmackDown, she has been a heel. You know, I don't know why they expected us to think it changed. She's been a heel, and the only thing was she laid undercover with the coach thing. She laid undercover with the coach thing, and kind of tried to act all nice. But it's been clear that she's a heel, and so it only makes sense that she was the one that attacked Nikki to take her spot because she got pushed out of the Survivor Series women's match, and she admitted it. She dropped the B word twice in that promo.
Hey.
I think she was stumbling a little, and she thought, "Let me throw this one out again for added emphasis." that word it gets a reaction, it gets a rise. Not only because it's harsh to say, but because people aren't expecting it like they used to. Yeah. So whenever it's dropped, it's like shit hit the fan.
I hear that, man. I definitely hear that. Oh, wait. So wait, she said John Cena would never marry her, right?
That was how she ended it. Absolutely, I can't even believe I left that out. But she did mention that she's nothing, and that John Cena ain't putting a ring on it, basically.
But honestly, I don't know how much you watch Total Divas or not, but I catch it from time to time, and the whole storyline of Nikki Bella and John Cena's relationship is the fact that John does not want any kids, and he does not want to get married. Like, if she's not down with that, he's fine with her not being with him. Yeah, like, he has two words for her.
Get out. John Cena is a G. John Cena is as G as it gets.
Bruh, you want to know what he did?
I'm listening. Let's get into this Total Divas.
Sidebar. He made her sign like a 20-page contract stating
John Cena keeps his bitches in check.
If you are okay, you agree? You want to be with me then? You feel that my stipulations are right? Sign the contract. I don't believe you. No kids, no marriage. Name on the dotted line, boy. Woo! He's crazy. He is crazy.
I feel like I don't even watch Total Divas, but I know about the Nikki John Cena thing. Like, I know he doesn't want to get married. I know about it, and I don't even watch the show. So I think they're doing a good job at weaving it in. At first it seemed like they were forcing it. You know, they forced the Total Divas stuff in, but now it seems like it's just a lot more fluid, just like everything else they've been doing.
Okay, so what was next?
You tell me.
I mean, what I see here is a backstage segment between Daniel Bryan and Alexa Bliss.
Alexa Bliss, you know, she was milking the knee injury again, and Daniel Bryan, just like on Talking Smack last week, I don't know if you caught it, but you know, there is no knee injury. She was faking it all along, you know, typical heel move.
Of course.
And he got word from the doctor that she was medically cleared, and so you know, she was like, "All right, I'll defend my title," and Was that the next match, or was there something in between that?
No, that wasn't the next match. The actual next match, I mean, that was just a segment, but it says here the
Mojo
match.
Rawley.
Nope, Luke Harper versus Dean Ambrose.
Luke Harper versus Dean Ambrose. Okay, I like this. The Wyatt family accompanies Luke Harper to the ring. They have a good match. Harper looks dominant. Ambrose gets the roll up, but then the Wyatt family storms the ring. To keep it brief, the Wyatt family storms the ring. Bray has Ambrose in the position for the Sister Abigail. Tosses him to Orton for the RKO instead. Wyatt stands strong.
What?
Again, Ambrose got the win, so Ambrose looks good. But Harper had a great showing. Harper looks dominant. And then, the Wyatts close it out. And it doesn't make Ambrose look weak because, he's 1 against 3. And then it makes the Wyatts look strong again. So
Honestly, out of everything that I did miss, I'm kind of mad I missed that moment because last week when I watched, Bray and Randy weren't there at all. So I just and it was like right after they won the belt. Like we haven't seen them since they won the belts. So it's like damn, I missed that. But I'm definitely gonna go back and catch that for sure. That was the second. I'm guessing the second half of SmackDown before it finished. Um, yeah, and like you said, even though Harper won, lost the match, he controlled it, and Wyatt's are relevant again, right?
absolutely.
So the next match was then the Alexa Bliss match, which I'm guessing from what I see here was against a luchador,
La Luchadora.
la luchadora,
Yeah. AKA.
lucha.
AKA Becky Lynch.
Oh, swerve!
She had a luchador mask on, and she picked up the win via the armbar, and
Really?
it was an interesting way to go into their match next week.
That's funny. So basically, she had a mask on. She did all the stuff she would do without the mask. That's what's up.
It was a Becky Lynch Alexa Bliss match essentially. Yes.
And Becky got the win.
Yeah, it wasn't like a match. I think they were going for the idea that Alexa Bliss kind of went into this match thinking she was facing some jobber.
Okay.
That doesn't make Alexa look too weak. It's almost like when Kurt Angle challenged Daniel Pooter to the Angle. What is it? The Angle Lock Challenge? Was it?
It was like a wrestling challenge.
Yeah, it's like a wrestling challenge, and it was like that where you underestimate, you come into it underestimating whoever you're against. Yeah. So it doesn't make you look too. It didn't make Alexa Bliss look too bad,
Yeah. Okay. Then, like you mentioned, that's it. Well, before we move on, actually, it's from what I see here, the recap that I pulled up seems like the match was pretty short.
That's exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like it wasn't like a thing. It was more like
a filler.
She underestimated her, and oh man, she just got caught. She just got caught sleeping, got caught in the armbar real quick.
Okay. And then the next match was Mojo Rawley versus Kurt Hawkins.
We don't got to talk about it if you don't want
to. I mean, honestly, Kurt Hawkins, I know he's on SmackDown, but since I've started watching again, I have not seen him. So, I'm curious to know what the hell was the deal here.
They built him up. They built him up with all those promos. Nobody really bought into it because they weren't really. They were lackluster. Basically, this is just it seemed like a match that they had set up where similar to the Fluffy segment, they had some, I don't know his name. I'm forgetting it at the moment, but a star in the show Shooter was backstage, and he was chopping it up with Mojo Rawley backstage. It was cool. And then Kurt Hawkins came popping shit, and basically very similar to the Apollo Crews Miz Fluffy segment. And that set up that match. Nothing special.
For me, looking at this without even watching the match or knowing what the hell happened, it's kind of funny because Kurt Hawkins came into WWE with Zack Ryder. And Zack Ryder's Mojo Rawley's tag partner. They're the Hype Bros. Yep. So can we possibly in the future see a 3-man Hype Bro team? Who knows? Who knows, right? From also what I see here, it has like a little highlight of WWE posted on Twitter something from the match. Mojo Rawley's not wearing those stupid ass pants he wears, huh?
What are they called? Zubas?
I have no fucking clue. I just know
I
they're
don't know. I know
fucking ugly.
Chicago Bears fans wear them,
Chicago Bears fans.
and it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, so I think that's the biggest takeaway from the match. Rawley was not wearing those stupid fucking pants.
There we go.
So next was main event time, right? Oh no.
No.
Wait. Oh yeah. Next was main event time. Yep. Next was the main event. Baron Corbin versus Dolph Ziggler. How'd that go?
Which we've seen before. We've seen Ziggler and Corbin in the ring quite a few times, actually. So good chemistry as usual.
Mm-hmm.
Twist ending. It was a good match. Twist ending though. AJ Styles gets involved. AJ Styles decides to be the brutal AJ Styles we saw in the opening segment. The over the top heel AJ Styles takes a chair to both of them.
What?
Absolutely destroys both of them.
What?
It looked awesome. It just looked so powerful.
Yo.
And then Daniel Bryan comes out and says, "You know what? They're both your opponents next week."
What?
Triple threat match.
I gotta say it again. What? No way. That makes me definitely tomorrow. I am watching this match as well. I definitely gotta see how that turned out and see it for my own eyes. That's dope, yo. So they're really gonna stack this end of the year Smackdown, huh? They're gonna go all out.
We were talking about it. It seems like because they don't have that pay-per-view. They don't have that last pay-per-view before the Rumble, and they have so many weeks. Because if Raw's last pay-per-view was a week ago, then SmackDown's was 2 weeks prior to that, which means there was about 8 weeks for them between that last pay-per-view, TLC, and the Rumble. So it would make sense that about 5 or 4 weeks away from the Rumble, they'd have this big SmackDown event. I believe it's the last SmackDown of the year as well, so it seems to fit.
Now, do you see any belts changing hands before Rumble?
Looking at it, I have this in front of me. I have the card in front of me. So far, the confirmed matches we have is Styles versus Ziggler versus Corbin for the WWE title. Bliss versus Lynch for the women's title, and then it was announced for the tag team titles: the Wyatts versus American Alpha versus the Usos versus Slater and Rhino.
Okay.
Looking at it, I would say I don't think any titles change hands. I think Bliss retains, Styles retains, and the Wyatts retain. It just seems pretty obvious.
So
I'm just expecting some good action, you know.
I mean, I know Ryder is hurt, but basically the Battle Royal was for no reason.
Kind of. I guess you could say that. Unfortunately, but I think. See, I'm the SmackDown guy, so I got to defend them. I don't like when it seems like something was all for nothing. The Usos weren't a part of that Battle Royal because one of them was hurt, so they never got their chance. And then I guess it was for nothing. It makes sense that the Usos get an opportunity. And because the Hype Bros, I guess they had to pull a fast, audible.
Yeah.
I guess. And but I'm not mad because seeing American Alpha and the Usos in the same ring as the Wyatts, along with Slater and Rhino, isn't necessarily the worst thing they could have came up with. So,
I mean, I'm not mad.
I guess you're right. It seems like it was for nothing.
Okay.
At least we'll get some good action.
I'm not mad at it. Based off the matches you said that are planned and that we know of, who knows? Alexa Bliss never beat Becky Lynch by pin or submission. She had to put her through a table. They might be taking that same approach, hot shot the belt back and forth. I hope not, but if there's one person that's I think might lose the belt, it might be Becky Lynch. But let's hope she doesn't. Let's just hope she doesn't. Let's hope, this feud goes on. we get some good moments for Royal Rumble. But yeah, I think that might happen from what you have told me and you informed me on and what we spoke about. Seems like SmackDown was lit, as Ronaldo, Mauro Ronaldo would say. SmackDown is lit.
Mauro Ronaldo always finds a way to implement some, hip hop shit and some slang into the show. But before we finish off this SmackDown talk, we need to talk about what I think is the most important part of next week's last SmackDown of the year.
Okay.
Next week's big SmackDown is that John Cena is returning.
Ooh. I didn't even think about that.
I don't think any of the titles change hands, but I do think Cena has to make some sort of impact. Whether it's showing up after Styles retains, whether it's showing up and then an Undertaker gong goes off to set up for that, who knows? But it's got to be big. It's got to be big.
I don't know. I don't want, honestly. You're just reeling me right back in, man. I feel that SummerSlam match between John Cena and AJ Styles was like damn near the best match of the year, man. That is definitely a candidate. If they, I heard they might not do the Slammies this year, but if they do it, that potential match of the year. But I don't want to see him come back and just get right back into a feud again with AJ Styles. So Taker is interesting, especially knowing that Royal Rumble's right around the corner and it's in Texas. Taker's home.
They could save Taker for the Rumble. That would make sense. Not that he'd be competing. I don't know if he's medically cleared, but all Taker really has to do is let the gong go off, and niggas know what's up.
That's
everybody
right.
knows what's up.
He doesn't even have to show up. Just have that gong go off, like you said, man.
I wouldn't want to see John Cena right back in the picture with Styles, as you said. It would make Styles look good if they let Styles go over him clean, like absolutely clean. But I don't really want to see it. I don't want them to, I don't want it to be overkill. They had a classic at SummerSlam. It was awesome. Let it rest, let it rest. They don't need to be in the same ring again.
At least not right now.
At least not right now, but I'm interested in, Cena's role going forward. You never know. Taker could come in and, Taker said he'd blame whoever cost SmackDown at Survivor Series, and the Dean Ambrose thing is not going to happen, it seems. They were not teasing, but you heard rumors of the AJ Styles thing. AJ Styles seems like he's got his own thing going on. Actually, AJ Styles doesn't really have a Rumble opponent, though, that we know of at this point. So who knows? Maybe it's Cena, maybe it's Taker. I could also see Taker potentially blaming Cena for walking out on SmackDown, for saying you weren't even a part of the Survivor Series match. Where have you been? You're supposed to be, a big presence on SmackDown, and you're not around.
Yeah.
Taker,
I don't know. That could be a possibility. I don't think. He's just gonna take it out on Cena. But who knows? I would love to see Cena versus Taker at least at WrestleMania or something. You know what I mean? But it seems like the only time those two will face each other is probably when one of them's gonna retire. And I just don't know if that's anytime soon. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Personally, I think it could happen sooner rather than later. Taker's getting up there. Cena is involved in a lot of things outside of wrestling. So, I don't think Cena is necessarily going to retire, but, he's leaning more towards part-time. And so Taker's getting up there, and with his health, who knows? And I think it could happen sooner than we think.
I look forward to it. Who knows? It's crazy thinking Cena might retire, comparing him to Taker when Taker's already his age and how long he's been around compared to Cena's age and how long he's been around, and Taker's always there every year, at least Mania, you know what I mean? And I could see Cena transitioning to that same role. But I feel, We talked a lot about wrestling. We got a lot of good stuff in, and I feel like it's time to move on to our next, topic, which is sports and music. But before we do that, we're gonna take a quick break.
Yeah. Gotta show 'em who the newest now. Gotta show 'em we the newest now. Gotta show 'em we the newest now. Like LY when I touch down. Odell when I touch down. New women had it for a while. Ted drive, switch it up now. I was young, did a fade with it. Now it's Kobe with a fade with it. 60 on the Mary game with it. Ain't no question, I stay with it. Ain't no pressure on the mission. Johnny Depp with a ticket. Golden ticket, get a mission. Harley resting, gotta get it. Nighttime with a mixing. Girl, I don't when I'm in it. Nighttime with a mixing. Gotta make it how you picture.
And we're back. All right, guys. So we're gonna talk about sports. We're gonna talk about the NFL. I thank you guys for hanging in for this long. It's gonna be a short segment. There's not really that much to talk about, but we do want to talk about football. The season has been amazing this year. Playoffs are right around the corner. I mean, I know my team's most likely making it. Your team's about to make it, I think, if I'm not mistaken. If anybody out there is not aware, I am a Giants fan, and my co-host here is a Dirty Birds Atlanta Falcons fan. And yeah, man, how do you feel about the season so far? Like, what are your predictions going forward?
Going forward from the state of things, just to recap, we haven't talked about football much at all. And when we first started this No Politics podcast, we started off, it was already late into the season a bit, but Oakland has been shocking to say. I mean, we always knew they had that talent, but they really, really put it together this year. Derek Carr looks awesome. The 2 seed, in the AFC, that looks pretty good. The Steelers, always dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Houston, Houston's not scaring anybody. Houston is the annual, they're the annual.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. When they signed Brock Osweiler, I was like, man, Houston could be pretty good. I mean, I give them a shot at like at least playoffs, at least maybe a deep run. And it was a small fraction of me that thought maybe even the Super Bowl. But Brock Osweiler is trash. I don't care what anybody says. He has a guy like DeAndre Hopkins on his team, and he can't even make him look good, man. The fuck is wrong with that guy?
I've had to deal with Brock Osweiler's shit because I'm a DeAndre Hopkins fantasy football owner, and I'm a huge DeAndre Hopkins fan, period. And he cannot put the ball on target. He doesn't look good. He looks scared out there. It's just, he doesn't look good, and they finally pulled the trigger this past week and benched him, much to the approval of the Houston Texans crowd. They went crazy when Tom Savage came in.
I know, right? And yo, tell me how. Like, I'm what I saw. I got a notification that Tom Savage might be starting next week on Sunday.
I believe he is. I think it's the right decision. Tom Savage actually threw the ball to DeAndre Hopkins, their top weapon. He targeted him 15 times in the second half alone.
Wow.
They came back from that deficit. They actually looked coherent on offense, and they were able to move the ball. And so I think it's the right decision. I think it's about damn time, to be honest.
Okay. Kansas City. Kansas City is playing well.
Kansas City, to me, is a better version of the Houston Texans. They just don't scare me. I'm sorry. Their defense is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Smith does not scare me. I don't think they really scare anyone. They force turnovers. And they're just that team that gets in and
gets out.
They run. Yeah, they get in and get out. They're basically thieves of the NFL. They get in, they get out, and they're done. They might be fortunate though. They seem like they'll be the 5 seed, which means a date with Houston or the AFC South winner,
mm-hmm.
which has been beatable in the playoffs.
And one of the bright spots for them has been the kid Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill is awesome.
He's doing it all out there, man. Like, honestly, Jeremy Maclin was supposed to be like that guy, and I think at least for sure going into next year, Tyreek Hill will be that guy that everybody will be watching for.
I had read something about Tyreek Hill early on in the year, and then going into, I believe, week 3, the Pittsburgh Kansas City game, it was on prime time, and I put it in our fantasy group chat. I said, watch out for Tyreek Hill. He's explosive. You know, all I had read was that he was explosive and that he had, like, blinding speed. And they found a way to use him well. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of times his style of play gets used like a gadget player. You know, they have a tough time getting them the ball. You know, kind of like a Tavon Austin, how he struggles. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes in his offense, but they've found a way to use him, and he's been awesome.
And then for me, like the surprise team, Miami, like they turned their team around. Like last year, I was not thinking next year, like, man, they'll make the playoffs. I was thinking, like, man, give them a couple years and maybe they'll make the playoffs. But hey, they're there for now.
It's been a quiet turnaround too. Like, you know, until I just pulled up this playoff picture, I didn't know they were the 6th seed. I knew they've been hot. I knew that they've won about 5 of the last 6, maybe 6 of the last 7 or something like that. But I didn't know that they were, you know, in the playoff picture like that. I didn't know they had already, you know, moved into the 6th seed. And, you know, their defense, their secondary had problems, but their secondary is putting it together. They have an amazing D-line.
Yeah.
If their offensive line can stay healthy, which they've struggled to do, Jay Ajayi has been dope for them this year.
Yeah.
The problem they're going to deal with is not that Ryan Tannehill was great, but they did lose Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, you're right, man. It's shocking to me. Denver's not there. Indianapolis is not there. Baltimore is not there at the moment, right? And
No, they're out according to right now. The season
Yeah.
ended today.
yeah, but they still got a shot. Man, who would have thought, right? Like the AFC is wild right now, for real.
Aside from New England and Pittsburgh, I think it's a bunch of teams. Not everyone could have expected. We could have, you know, predicted Oakland maybe,
Yeah.
Houston, Kansas City, Miami. Those are interesting teams.
Yeah, well, let's move on to the NFC, which for me is the best division.
The NFC.
Well, I would say conference. I mean, the best conference in the NFL right now. I mean, Dallas. What can we say about them? 12-2. I'm not a Dallas fan. I'm sorry for your losses. I know you got it hurts. It hurts to have 2 losses to the New York Giants, but you guys are still number 1. And I know for a fact, if there's any Cowboy fans out there listening, I know for a fact you guys don't want to see us in the playoffs. Let's just leave it at that.
You really popping shit right now, huh? If anyone doesn't know me, I am working genius. I am an Atlanta Falcons fan since I was about 7 years old. You know, Michael Vick brought me into that Atlanta Falcon fandom, and I hate the New York Giants. I deal with the New York Giants fans all the time. All of my friends, I'm from New York, you know, I'm from the city, Manhattan, Lower East Side.
Traitor.
All my friends, New York Giants fans, and I gotta hear it from them. If you don't know about New York fans, just know that every year in October, New York Knicks fans always say, New York Knicks is taking it this year. That's all you need to know about New York fans.
No.
All the time. They talk about they taking it every single year. The Giants have been trash for the last 4 years, and for a while until they lost last year, they were on that every 4 years we win the Super Bowl bullshit. And so I can't stand it. I don't have anything against the Giants. I love Eli's toughness. Odell's a bit of a diva, but you know he's a stud. You can't argue that. They're a solid team. Their secondary has improved. But I got to deal with the fans, and that's enough for me to want them to lose every week, pretty much. But I'm a Falcon fan. You know, we've had a couple rough seasons, but Dan Quinn is new. You know, I believe this is his 2nd year, and he's really turned it around. Our defense, you know, still be leaking, but we getting stronger. We lost Trufant. That's not good, but we're a threat. We're a threat right now. We're sitting at the 3 seed. Hopefully, we can lock up the NFC South division. I think we're a threat, and if we got to see the Giants in the first round, you know what's up.
Okay. You don't want it. Trust me.
You can't be the only one popping shit on this podcast.
I mean, all right. Besides us popping shit, because we're both in the same conference, both of our teams. Let's break down the conference because Dallas is number one, Seattle is number two. I can't believe Seattle's number two. Personally, to me, I think they're trash. I don't care what anybody says. Russell Wilson has had the worst season of his year. I mean, worst year of his career. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I'm at a loss for words, as you can see. Like, I really don't understand how they're number two and how they have a 9-4 record. Like, how?
Aside from the Giants, I believe that the Seattle Seahawks are the luckiest team in the NFL. They always seem to just be there. They seem to just be there in the end. I don't know why, but they always seem to just hang around in the end. And they went, like, they've had some bad losses. They lost to the Bucks. That wasn't good. They looked terrible that game. They survived against the Falcons. They shouldn't have won that game. That was the blown pass interference call on Julio Jones to end the game. They tied with Arizona. A lot of times they don't look good. They don't look good when they're not at home. When they're not and this isn't a secret. You know, at home they kick teams in the mouth. But on the road, they don't look good. They don't look formidable. And the fact that they're the 2 seed is kind of like, wow, okay. Yeah. But if we're gonna continue breaking down the conference, Dallas, even though they're 12-2 and they look dominant, Dak Prescott, someone who was praised for having all this poise as a young guy, he's looked a bit shaky lately.
Yes, he has.
He's looked a bit shaky lately.
Definitely.
And we know that the defense isn't anything special, so they could be having some problems going into the playoffs. I think anyway.
Number 3 seed. Atlanta, I think we spoke enough about them.
You already know.
Number 4, Detroit. They've definitely turned their team around the past like 2-3 years. They haven't been good at all, which is crazy because they've had Calvin Johnson, and now they don't have him, and they're like having comeback victories, and they want to roll to Big Blue had to stop that real quick. But enough about them. Enough of me gloating. But yeah, man, how you feel about Detroit?
Matt Stafford has looked pretty awesome. I've heard some analysts mention it, but not having Calvin Johnson has given him a chance to really spread the ball. He's not having to force it to anyone. He has freedom. When you have a guy like Calvin Johnson, you want to give them opportunities to make plays, and sometimes you do it to the you do it too much and it could hurt your offense. But he's been able to spread the ball and he's looked good. Got a lot of fourth quarter comebacks and game winning drives.
Yeah.
He looks good and their defense hasn't been terrible. Their defense has actually been pretty good lately.
Yeah, man.
And so they hold it close. They keep the game tight. And then if they got Stafford, fourth quarter drive, you never know. With them, they could always surprise some teams.
Yep, number 5 seed, the New York Giants.
Let's not talk about it.
We've talked enough about them, I feel, as well. And this isn't the last time we'll talk a lot about them and Atlanta, I must add. But number 6 seed from there is Green Bay, who I think we'll both agree on. Somehow they're in the playoffs. I think they're going to stay in the playoffs because we know how the NFL is. They love them some Green Bay. And I think it's safe to say none of us want to see them in the playoffs. Not because we're scared of them or they're just that good. But Aaron Rodgers in playoffs is just a different kind of animal. He turns his game up to another level. And it's scary when Aaron Rodgers is on one. And it's just all about whether his weapons could hold him down and take care of the ball and basically get that team to W. But, yeah, how you feel about Green Bay?
When Aaron Rodgers is in the playoffs, he starts, they call it the discount double check, but I hate that name. I just think it's kind of corny. But he starts putting that title on himself. He starts letting you know, I'm that guy. I'm the champion. Yeah. And I think they're dangerous. They're always dangerous. Fortunately, if they are the 6th seed, they won't be able to play in Lambeau, which is usually a tremendous advantage for them. I think they're gonna find a way in. When they played Chicago on that Thursday night game, before that game, I thought to myself, the Packers aren't going to make the playoffs this year. They're going to be a shock team that doesn't make the playoffs this year. And because they looked really bad. And then they really started to put it together offensively. You know, their struggles early in the season offensively seem like a distant memory at this point. They're clicking again on offense for the most part. They beat Seattle, I believe, a week ago in a game where Seattle, again, did not look good at all.
They
which,
trashed them.
Exactly. And so unfortunately, Green Bay looks like they're going to get in unless Tampa Bay catches them or maybe Washington. Minnesota doesn't look,
Minnesota,
great.
I mean, I know we're talking about playoffs and how the season has shaped up, but we honorable mention, man. Minnesota was so hot. Everybody was so scared of them, and they have just fell off, plummeted. 7-7 record. I mean, damn. That's all I can say. In the words of Ron Simmons, damn.
We need one thing. We need are sound effects. That we need to find a way to get that. Hopefully, we can't get sued or anything for it. But we need to bring some Ron Simmons in on this. But yeah, exactly. Minnesota has they've fallen off, and they've dealt with some injuries defensively. So that it's not like they just fell off out of nowhere. But they can't move the ball offensively. Their offensive line is not good, amongst the worst in the league. And it makes me laugh that about 3 or 4 weeks into the season, everyone was talking about Philadelphia and Minnesota. I remember it like so clearly, and just neither of them are really worth talking about. But Tampa Bay and Washington on the outside looking in right now. Tampa Bay has a chance. Tampa Bay has not looked bad lately.
I know.
They beat the Seahawks. They look decent. They look solid against Dallas.
Yeah, man.
So they could be a threat. Hopefully they don't catch the Falcons in our
They've
division.
been in some really good games this year. Like, I've paid attention to them this year mainly because in one of my fantasy leagues, Jameis Winston was one of my quarterbacks, and I just wanted to watch his games just to make sure, like, he's doing what he needs to do to get me that W. You know what I'm saying? But I've seen a few of their games where they have been great, close games, like down to the end. Who knows who's going to win? And I really feel like they deserve a shot. I want them in the playoffs over Green Bay. I mean, pretty much it's always the same faces in the playoffs, like the same quarterbacks, the same teams. But this year, if we can have Tampa Bay, Detroit, Dallas, it's been a while for Dallas. It's been like 2 or 3 years for Dallas, That's our conference. And then having fucking Oakland, Miami, I mean, this could be a big year, like, for the underdogs, and I want to see that. I prefer them over Green Bay in the playoffs, man. And I know you definitely do.
I would like that too. I feel like a lot of teams have kind of come out of nowhere this year, and I love it because a lot of times we're used to seeing Brady, we're used to seeing Ben, we're used to seeing Rodgers, And if we get to see someone like Dak, if we get to see Stafford, the Falcons are finally back in the picture. It's a fresh look, and it makes it so much more interesting. It makes it a lot more compelling. I mean, could you imagine if the playoffs started today, Atlanta and Green Bay in the first round? That's awesome. One of those teams is going home, first week. That's awesome. But if we get to see a team like Tampa Bay, get in, give them a shot. That would be awesome too. See new faces, like you said.
And let's not forget the game where it was Atlanta versus Tampa. They went off. Both of them went off against each other until like the second half. Then Atlanta pulled away. But those were the two biggest games for Julio Jones and Mike Evans this year. That was the one big game, I mean, for both of them. You know what I mean? Like, they both, like, I know fantasy-wise at least, they both put up 30 that day.
I feel like you shitting on Julio and you forgetting about his 300-yard day against Carolina.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. I might have forgot about that.
Don't be disrespectful.
But I'm just saying, like, that was a shootout. Like, they both were going to their main dudes, and they were getting it in. You know what I mean? And I mean, I would love to see that match in the playoffs, man.
Definitely, I'd prefer them over Green Bay
Of course you do.
for sure.
But yeah, man. I mean, that's how it's shaping up. We got 2 more weeks left, right?
Yes.
And yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm always excited for football. I mean, out of everything, like baseball, man, I stopped watching baseball after the Yankees won in '09. And basketball, I love basketball, but these past 2 years, I am a Knicks fan. I'm not one of those fans who say every October we're taking the ship. I'm not one of those. But the past 3 years, 3 or 4 years, it's been kind of tough for me to the point where I thought like every game I was watching and they were losing, I thought I was jinxing it or something. I was like, you know what? I'm just not gonna watch. Maybe they'll get some wins. But this year I'm still watching. When I can, and we're doing all right. I'm not gonna, not gonna go in and be like, yo, we're a top team and all that, because it's a long season. But football, I'm always excited for, man, and I just can't wait for the playoffs.
I'm excited about the playoffs too. I think it should be an interesting one at the very least. Like maybe not the greatest, who knows, but interesting because we're gonna see a lot of new faces. If we're gonna talk to NBA. If you gonna shout out your Knicks, I gotta shout out my Denver Nuggets. If you don't know, first of all, I am from New York, as I mentioned, but I am a Denver Nuggets fan. I know you probably wondering what the fuck is good with me, but I'm a Nuggets fan because I was a Melo fan in Syracuse, and he kind of introduced me to the NBA. Yes, the Denver Nuggets are in fact still in the NBA. I know a lot of y'all a lot of y'all might have forgot. We are still around. If we're gonna touch up on the basketball thing, we've got a young core, one of the youngest teams in the league, and we on the come up.
Okay.
Watch out for us.
You guys definitely beat us. I didn't want to bring it up, but you guys beat us.
Let's talk about it.
But you know what? I'm gonna say this. I give you kudos, man, because you're loyal. You know what I'm saying? Because you just mentioned that you became a Denver Nuggets fan because of Melo. But Melo's gone, and you're still a Denver Nuggets fan. Like you're not jumping on that Knicks bandwagon. I think you just got something against your own people, man. There must be a conspiracy here because whatever the New Yorkers like, you don't like. What's going on?
We talking about personal lives now. Like we talking about personal lives now. Nah, it's just I'm a big fan of falling in love with a team or because just by happenstance, not because, well, I'm from New York, so I guess I'll be a Knicks fan. Like, I like a good story behind a fandom. Yeah. One of the first football players I ever saw was when my dad said, yo, come here, watch this guy. And it was Michael Vick electrifying the world. And that made me say, you know what? I got to watch this guy more. And it made me watch the Falcons. Melo in Syracuse. I caught a bunch of his games. I caught his, March Madness run, and I said, wow, wherever this guy goes, I gotta watch this guy. And he ended up on the Nuggets. I said, that's the team I'm gonna follow now. And even when he left, I had been a Nuggets fan for about 6 years at that point. Fell in love with, the culture and the team, and just stuck with that. Those are my, introduction into, the NFL and NBA fandom. So I've always liked the story behind it. I don't want to like a team just because,
Yeah, I feel you, man. I've always been the kind of guy. I mean, I guess we're gonna get into NBA just for a little bit because we're about to wrap it up. But just just to explain how I got into the NBA. Well, into liking the NBA because I don't play for the NBA. Just in case anybody might get that a little mixed up and stuff. I'm not an NBA player, but anyway, I've always been more of not a team guy, but of a certain player. And my guy was Vince Carter. Nobody could tell me. When I seen Vince Carter in the dunk contest doing what he does, Vinsanity, defying gravity, and they came out with the Nike Shocks, and people was like, yo, these are the Vince Carters. I was like, damn, this guy is amazing. But at the same time, I've always looked up to the men in my family, my uncles, and and at that time was when the Knicks made the finals against the Spurs, and Latrell Sprewell was my man too. Like I didn't know about the choking the ref and all that. I just liked Latrell Sprewell. There was just something about him. Like it wasn't just Allen Houston. It wasn't Marcus Camby. I didn't give a fuck about Patrick Ewing. You know, no disrespect. That's the legend. You know what I mean? But Latrell Sprewell was my man. So I always liked the Knicks, and wherever Vince Carter went, I always supported Vince Carter and liked that team because the Knicks, after that year, weren't even in the playoffs. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's how I got into it. And, you know, I stay loyal to the Knicks, and I'm still loyal to Vince Carter. You see him on Memphis still doing his thing. Still doing his thing. He'll still posterize you. I don't care how old he is. He's the last of a dying breed. They all falling off. Kevin Garnett's gone. Kobe's gone. Duncan's gone. McGrady's gone. Iverson's gone. But guess who's there? Carter. Paul Pierce is there, but it's his last year too. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how we gonna do. I guess that's how we gonna wrap it up. All the fans out there. I thank you for listening. I want you guys to go and share our podcast with the people out there, people you know any wrestling fans. I love the fact that everyone's tuning in. We look forward to continuing to drop these episodes week by week, whenever we can. And we'll see you guys next week. Be safe. Peace.